Hi, how are you, everybody? So we have a dear guest today. The program is in English today. It's called Source Юрой in Russian, meaning surrealist with Юра. In Russian, it's kind of quirky play on words. So we have as a guest today, it's our repeat offender. It's IZZY WEISS, a Grassroots operations manager for VERNIKOV. It would be too long to write out the whole thing, but the Grassroots operation manager for Ina VERNIKOV from Brooklyn, New York, district, city council district number 48. IZZY WEISS is here. IZZY WEISS, how are you doing today?
How are you doing? Good morning, Yura. First off, thank you for having me on at this early hour. We were going back and forth. We discussed I can come on at a certain time. Thank God you are very busy. You have many guests, many people that do want to come on and tell their story. You want to tell their story. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to discuss, as we said, the front lines, what's going on, recent interactions with the opponent's campaign/campaign manager, just to update the people on what's been going on.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you're busy because we need you busy. I started my morning when my wife is very involved as well. So I got some flyers from Ina. So we placed a few flyers, and we had a Chinese woman in a face mask, older woman doing her thing with the hands on the street, walking around. I gave her the booklet, the postcard with Ina's portrait. I said, turn it around, the Chinese version I gave to her. And she looked at it, and I asked her, I know like a few words. It's my secret weapon. In the grocery store, I say, how? And she said, how? That was the answer. Do I need to translate? No. So how's it going? You're busy on so many fronts, I imagine.
So it's extremely busy. What definitely helps the cause, and I call it a cause because a cause, in effect, is a righteous endeavor, and that's essentially what Ina's doing here. I mean, we keep reiterating the same thing, that she's not looking for a job, that she has a successful law practice, and she wants to clean up the city, hence why she's running. So on the cause from the front lines, what we're hearing from people on the street is that, A, she has name recognition. People have heard her. They've seen her on different programs. They've read about her in various publications. And the one thing that people keep repeating is that they are happy that there is a fighter that's potentially coming into office, because people want a fighter. They don't want somebody that's going to lay down and let the Democratic establishment step all over them, because that's essentially what they have been doing to all of us as constituents, members of this community, this district, this city. I mean, look at what's happened in the city, even prior to COVID. COVID just kind of accentuated the insanity and the sickness from looting, robbing, stealing, destroying property, to people who have built mom and pop shops over 40, 50 years that have had to shutter their doors because of the draconian measures instituted by our governor and our mayor. So it's all kind of come to rear its ugly head, and we're just doing the best that we can to get Ina's message out there that, yes, you can have a fighter, yes, you will have a voice, and yes, we are not afraid of the establishment. We can do great things.
Yeah, in our case, establishment looks pretty dirty itself. It doesn't look very like establishment, as we used to see in the TV series, people, with with Chardonnays and tuxedos, etc., etc. It's a dirty, a low-life argument that they have. Yesterday we talked in Russian. I said they have no good argument. They don't have good bench. I give people I hope Ina wouldn't mind when she watches this program, hopefully. I give people the postcard with her face, and I say, don't look at the pretty face. Turn it around. Look at the program.
Right, the message.
And the other thing is the people, what she's going to do, her plans. And the other thing is that people are used to the slogan, I will fight for you, I will fight for you, I will fight for you. Donald Trump said it a number of times. and they was indicted for this phrase, fight, 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 fight. Although everybody says it, every your vet says it, the guy who takes care of your cat's nails. They say it to you, but we need to fight a little bit too. We need to fight because we cannot sit like a swamp. Another swamp is not what this country needs. The swamp of the population that looks around and sees it waits that somebody will take care of their rights. We gotta go. We gotta have some action. We gotta go and support our candidates. We gotta go and ask the Board of Education, the schools, the teachers, what are you teaching our kids? Those things. We gotta get more active, guys and ladies, and whoever's listening.
Yeah, 100%. If it's people, there's a line that I like to say when, let's say, we're out in the streets and we're meeting with people. Sometimes I will annoyingly get on the microphone and start belting out certain things. And the one thing that is a constant is I say, you cannot complain if you don't vote. Okay, commonly people are complaining about government, commonly complaining about what's going on. But then you ask them, excuse me, sir, or ma'am, did you go to vote? Nah, why would I go to vote? I'm not going to change anything. So then why the hell are you complaining? If you want to see change, get off your ass and go vote. You can't complain about what's going on if you're going to sit back and expect everyone else to do your dirty work. This is a very, very strong district. People have the ability to wake up in the morning. Let's just say, for argument's sake, even though early voting, by the way, starts on October the 23rd. Let's say you can't make early voting. What's to stop you on November 2nd, waking up a little bit earlier, grabbing a coffee, having your cigarette if you smoke, walking up to your poll site, which shouldn't be far from where you live,
Absolutely.
Simply casting a ballot and voting for somebody that, as you said, that the mantra is fight, fight, fight. But in actuality, this is not just a fighter.
Just
this is
stand
a person
up
that's
and
actual.
vote.
Yeah, vote. Just get out and vote. Why?
No,
I don't understand. How hard
simple. And looking at what's going on in Russia, they falsified. They had this electronic election system this year implemented, and it looks like they were duped with the system as well. And we had the system. I say just paper ballots and no adjudication. I'm hearing what's going on in California. Adjudication is like 56% of all the ballots goes through adjudication. Is it normal? A person who cannot fill out the ballot does not deserve to be heard from. I'm sorry. You can live, you can use everything this country has to offer. If you cannot fill it out, if you don't pay attention, your vote shouldn't be counted. That's it. Simple. Talk to a cop when you violate in the street. Who cares? Why you ran the red light? Why you read the traffic light? Nobody cares. You did a violation. That's it. End of story. You get your points. You get your fines. You get your everything. Pay attention. Same rule in life. Life is much more important than even running the red light. But not to date myself, but when we lived in Russia, they were saying like, this is a hammer, and this is a nail, and this is a screw. So it was just one type of nail, one type of screw, one type of hammer. But when you come to America, you have hundreds of types of screws, hundreds of types of nails, hundreds of types of hammers. We have an amazing toolbox here to affect the outcome of elections, to affect what affects our lives. We need to learn the tools. We need to learn the instrument. Like somebody's playing a fiddle, just for everybody to understand. Because here, like 2 out of 3 of the listeners play fiddle or some other musical instruments. I don't know. So you learn how to make the right sound, how to find the right note, how to find the right voice, right tempo, how to find your music, to put your music through a channel that it would be accepted and loved by people who listen to you.
Your voice can be heard. You have a voice. You
need to learn all this tools if you want to be, if you want the life to be the way you want it to be.
Yeah, it's you're not stuck in the mud. You can get up and go, and that's what this country
Absolutely.
offers.
Nobody's putting you there unless you willingly step into it and stay there and talk to and tell yourself that, It's okay. It's FDA approved. We'll sit there. We'll wear the mask and the mask on the top of our head and the mask on the back of our butt. Easy. Tell me what's going on with the other side. What was this accident that everybody's talking about? This
Okay, so this you know what, this is one of those things where
incident, brother.
it you know what, I didn't expect it to turn out the way that it did, but the good news is that the other side got to show their true colors, which is very important.
Absolutely.
Especially for anyone watching your program, and plenty of people watch this program. That video did go viral, so I'm going to give a brief synopsis as far as to what happened. That day, the great Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis came out to Brighton Beach to give a full endorsement, the full public endorsement of Ina. She came out, she spoke. Ina's campaign manager, David Starobin, who has been a guest on your show multiple times, a great orator.
And a personal friend.
Yes, a very, 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 very strong voice, strong Republican voice. So they spoke, and then when Ina went to speak, a band started to play music to drown out her speech, to drown her out.
What kind of band was that? Did they bring the band or?
So it's my understanding that the band was put in that area and was told to play at that time strictly to offset any comments that Ina would make, which again is a really classy move by the opposition. Now, speaking of opposition, I heard about this. I came from where I was at work. I was actually supposed to go out to dinner with my wife and my son that night. But when I saw videos of what was happening, it burned me up and infuriated me. So I came down there. We had a microphone. I got on and I started speaking truth to power. I started telling people, these are the Democrats. This is what they do. They try to control situations. They try to falsify things. They want you to believe a certain thing. They're trying to masquerade their candidate as something he's clearly not, which we'll obviously get into. I start speaking about this, and I must have triggered something, because as I'm walking around, this violently angry woman comes up to the right of me and starts screaming in my ear, "You need to get laid, boy. You need to get laid." And I'm like, and I'm walking and I'm talking and I'm trying to formulate the right words, and I'm just like, did she really just say that? Did his actual campaign manager just tell me I need to get laid? First of all, projection. That's number one. Number two, really? This is the best you could muster up? You couldn't say like, you're a liar. What are you talking about? Your candidates.
Here are the real numbers. Here's the numbers. Here's the story.
Here's it.
Here's the facts.
Give me something tangible. No, you need to get laid. Wow, lady. Fantastic.
That's some language.
This woman, apparently, is the campaign manager for Ina's opponent. So I found it mind-boggling that somebody at such a high position, somebody in such an important position for a city council candidate, could engage in such rhetoric, in such stupidity.
Rhetoric is overstatement, for an overstatement for what she said. It does not raise to, even something that you would respond when you shop on Brighton Beach, and somebody pushes you, and that's what you hear. It's not to knock down on Brighton Beach, but it's just impossible. But I looked yesterday at this video where Ina invited her opponent to debate, and the opponent was first behaving as a I'm sorry to say like a stupid male, if I insulted some males.
A petulant child.
And he walked away like it wouldn't, it doesn't qualify for anything. It's like someone who just, I'm sorry, I posted a comment. I said, if he walks like a loser, he looks like a loser. So make him a loser already.
Right.
He behaved absolutely. I don't know who can support him, because he cannot show even just for the show, he cannot be attentive, he cannot be receptive, he cannot be willing to discuss. You cannot just go with, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking? And then walk away. That was his argument. There's nothing.
His argument is a classic Democratic argument, which is, if you cannot fight facts with facts, you either try to silence your opponent or you just walk away because you have nothing tangible to combat with. We're also talking, mind you, about a guy that's roughly 6'5", 200 plus pounds. He's an imposing figure.
Yeah.
And Ina, sorry, Ina, a tiny little person who is literally standing looking up at him and saying, Stephen, I asked you to a debate, a sincere debate. I sent you a message. We saw the evidence. We saw the proof. We know exactly when she messaged him, and there was no response. So his reaction is, you're not nice. You're not sincere. What part of, hey, Stephen, I would love to debate you is not sincere? It's clear. He is a coward. He is afraid. He knows that if him and her are across from each other and they engage in any type of a debate, she will mop the floor with him because she will wipe the floor with facts over fiction. And number two, accomplishments versus nothing. Ina's been a fighter her entire life. Ina's an accomplished attorney. Ina's an immigrant. Ina came here with nothing and built herself into a classic success story. What has Stephen done? Nothing. You don't hear anything about it. When you ask people why they would support him, I have yet to hear anybody say. I have yet to hear a single person say, because I think he will do a better job than Ina Vernikov. No one has said that. Nobody. And that's what blows my mind. How do you support a coward?
The only argument, the only argument I could make up, and I'm really straining myself, I can
go,
is that he's a former Republican. That's all I can say. The only good thing I can say about him. But he lost, I think, a couple of times. He lost as a Republican, and so he crossed to the dark side, and he became a Democrat, just willing to desperately win. But you cannot will a victory. You can will the defeat.
You used the key word there. You used the word desperately. Desperation. When it comes to desperation, people will do almost anything, right? Especially a person that's looking for a job, a person that's failed at everything they've ever touched. Why would this community want a failure that's beholden to the people above him? This is a man that is afraid of his own shadow. This is a guy that would not take on an opponent. Now, get this, Yura, this is amazing. He ran for assembly against a woman named Frontis in Coney Island. This person is a Louis Farrakhan supporter. Stephen refused to point out this mere fact that she is a Farrakhan supporter. What does that tell you? If he's not willing to point out the actual truth about a horrible anti-Semite, a virulent piece of garbage, what is he going to do for this community? For the Russian community, the Jewish community, the Catholic community, the Chinese community, the Muslim community, what is he going to do if he's not willing to call out anti-Semitism and racism when it's so blatantly in front of him? The man is a coward. He should not be representing the people of this district. We want not just a fighter, we want someone that's actionable. He is neither of those. And to top it off, he's a coward.
Just to remind, Louis Farrakhan's supporter, Louis Farrakhan is a virulent anti-Semite and the follower of he's a founder or in some way of a Nation of Islam, the organization that believes that there are spaceships hanging around our planet. And the crew is all African Americans waiting for the last command to come down and take over. And it's just official version of the mythology of this whole organization. And one of the followers rammed into the barricade near Capitol, and he killed a police officer. And if that would, God forbid, happen with somebody, somebody who would follow the Republican ideas would do that, the whole hell would break loose.
Yep.
It would be just, we'll never hear the end of it. Like Charlotte, this until today, this whole thing. But this is almost forgotten. And when we hear about the overwhelming support of the Democrats in the city of New York, in the state of New York, blah, blah, blah. We have such a great mayor. We used to have such a great governor until he became bad overnight, basically.
Yeah.
And why such a short bench? Why they don't have good candidates?
Why don't the Democrats have good candidates?
Yeah. Why don't they have any good candidates? Because candidates are just garbage.
I'll tell you, because the standards and the ideology that they have does not align with most people. And I think they're blinded by platitudes and stupidity. They don't actually look at the facts. If they looked at the facts, if people educated themselves on what each party represents, you're going to find negativity on all fronts with all parties, but you will find a severe just a disparity between the two. And it really, the question is, people, again, as I'm going back to this, they complain about how the Democrats have ruined the city. If the Democrats continue to ruin the city, doesn't it make sense to try to change that? Doesn't it make sense to try to put a Republican in office? Wouldn't it make sense to try to change the narrative? And maybe, just maybe, you'll see some better come out of it. I mean, if you keep doing the same stupid thing over and over, trying to look for a different result, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're a fool. Try to change the narrative. Do something. Do something different.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, before, it's just so many tools. You if you want more of something, tax it less. That's the thing. But the Democrat, they cannot stop with the taxing. They keep coming up with the programs. Nobody knows. Nobody sees the results of those programs. I heard of the radio. I don't know if it's true, but the result is confirming that it most probably true, because they spent $2 billion. They spent on the draining system, and we had those rains and the Hurricane Ida. They couldn't find a trace what was done for the money. They couldn't find anything. Nothing was cleaned.
Classic. That's classic. Look at Thrive NYC. Where was that $1 billion? Where did Charlotte? Where was that money spent? Nobody knows. Nobody has a clue, because money gets allocated and no one has a clue. Nobody has an idea. And since we're talking about Democrats that like to mingle with the people that they claim to hate, this Met Gala, you see these beautiful pictures of our fantastic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wearing this beautiful dress, Tax the Rich. And then you see pictures of the mayor with his wife and son in these beautiful pictures, dressed to the nines. Yeah. These people trash the very people they're hanging out with. What does that tell you? The hypocrisy stinks like a Staten Island landfill. This is how they roll. And the fact that people still kowtow to it blows my mind how unbelievably stupid this one have to be. You saw the pictures.
I did. I spoke with somebody who was there in the paparazzi crowd, and he said that he had his I'm sorry if somebody's having his breakfast right now or lunch or dinner, but he said, I'm having my, I don't know how it's called, but the portable thing that you wear if you want to go, number one, you can do it, like, not a diaper, but what he described to me in great detail was more like a bag, that goes along your leg, etc., etc. So he said, you spend a lot of time because they clear you to come in, and you stay there in the corral with other paparazzis and all the mean things they do to each other. They fight with each other, and all in front of all this glamorous congregation on the steps of the Metropolitan Museum. And it's the only place, frankly, where I still want to go. This and the opera in the city, and it saddens me to see it. But it's people were fighting. People were, doing their thing right in the crowd, because not everybody came equipped like this, like this guy, and both sexes, and shamelessly, because they want to make a picture, they want to make a photo, and they want to sell it, and they slap some sort of a film on their competitors' lenses. So you cannot see, as you take pictures, you cannot see any defects. But once you start processing it, it goes all, rainbowy and blurry, whatever. So it's just like a rat. Not. I don't want to insult cats. I don't know if rats fight. I think rats fight too. They must. But there was like this, like dirty rats fighting in a hole. But I got a great laugh when I saw Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in her fabulous dress, but someone photoshopped Trump won on her back instead of.
I'm sure she wouldn't be caught dead with that.
And the question to De Blasio and the question to Ocasio-Cortez: who's paying for all this? They got it for free. Nobody charged them $30,000. It would be $90,000 for the three of them to come in. Yeah. I want to see the receipts.
Ethics violations, much? I mean, I know that there are some groups that have filed ethics violations.
Would they claim it as a gift, campaign gift, or something?
It's amazing, because for $35,000, I remember when AOC was trying to raise money, if I'm not mistaken, for her abuela, who had her roof ripped off, and it was somewhere north of 40, was it 40, 50K? Wouldn't it have been great if like that money was maybe donated to her grandmother? See, no, because they just don't care. Also, one other thing to point out that I truly enjoyed. Notice how the draconian measures with the masks, that they mandate that everybody wears a mask, that people have to show vaccination cards and all that in restaurants, which is a totally separate discussion. But yet what I saw in all the pictures was that the help, and I call it the help, they were all wearing masks. But what about the people that were actually at the event? Did you see masks? I saw nothing. I see anything. Do as I say, not as I do.
Chris Rock, the comedian, announced this morning that he has COVID. Guys, girls, go back, get vaccinated. He himself announced in March or in May that he got Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Now he's saying it's not a good way, as someone said on Twitter, it's not a good way to advertise vaccination. If you were vaccinated and you got COVID. It's so hard. They made it such a they weaponized it to a degree that almost like doesn't make sense, not scientifically nor politically, and they about to. I think the Democrats are about to reap reap what they saw, because people everywhere, like medical workers, they were just 5 minutes ago, they were biggest heroes. Houses in Brooklyn still carry the signs, the medical workers, emergency personnel, thank you. Now they're enemies because they protest. Teachers do not agree. People have to take their brains into their hands and take a good look. What's inside their heads? How does it connect?
I'm all in favor of people making a choice on their own. It is your decision to make. You cannot require putting a mandate on something unproven is extremely, extremely dangerous, because that is essentially pure government control. Every person has the right to choose if they want to get vaccinated or they do not want to get vaccinated. That is your decision. And again, a very, very polarizing issue, especially today, amongst a million other things that this country is dealing with. Our bumbling president who can't get through a sorry, my phone is just moving over. Our bumbling president that is every single month, the numbers keep just dropping. His approval rating keeps dropping. Kamala Harris's ratings have been completely dropping. You haven't heard a word from her. You haven't heard anything on national.
No, where's this?
You know why?
Nice. Tell me why.
Well, it's simple.
Because she has nothing. She has nothing.
I'm going to make a comparison. You don't hear from her because similarly to Ina and her opponent, if you hear the opposition speak, if you hear Kamala Harris speak, you're going to like her less, because every time she opens her mouth, if there's a serious question that's asked her, she starts laughing, like this odd laugh, which is like this nervous laugh, like, right, that's all she's got. Like, and this is the person that was elected, however legally she was elected. These are the people that are in office. These are the people representing this country. We are a laughing stock. We are a laughing stock, essentially, all over the world. Does anyone take Joe Biden seriously?
Yeah, they really like picked out of the whole lineup. I'm not saying I was not a big fan of anybody who was on stage on the Democratic primary debate, but they're really like horns and hooves, that they picked up from the floor and they installed as president and vice president is like inedible crap that nobody wanted. That's what they did with us. And interestingly, there was this meeting, and President Trump said that there would be a provocation on this Saturday in front of the Capitol. The request was like for 700 people to come in defense of those who were in the Capitol building on January 6th. And I read yesterday that they there was one person who was armed in this crowd. The crowd was even smaller than 700. And 2/3 of them were wearing Ray-Bans and, looking around, they're wearing masks, etc. So we know Ray-Bans is like a government-issued thing. So they got one guy, they stopped one guy in this crowd, and the guy had his face covered, of course, not with a mask, but with the bandana or something.
Oh, the bandana.
And they asked him, they searched him, and he had a gun on him. And once they said, "Why you have a gun?" and they tried to arrest him, then he pulled out a badge. He was an FBI guy. He was an
Right.
undercover guy, and I think if they looked around, they would find a few more.
Probably a
And
couple more.
they just escorted him out of the site. And they tried to the police, huge guys dressed like medieval, and they surrounded. The guy was pretty tiny himself, but they surrounded him and they tried to block him from the camera, not to let him film it.
Right.
Not
Government
let people film it.
resources.
There was like 50 people around trying to make a recording of it, and we still got it. We still see it, but it's unheard of, and nobody's making I mean, outside of Tucker Carlson and a few more people, Greg Gutfeld, the Five,
Oh,
and
he's great.
the good. Yeah, I enjoy Greg Gutfeld. I always, I go to sleep like after I do my thing in the evening. I watch Greg.
He
And
he's consistently good. Greg has always, and what I like is his quips. He's very fast. He's just on point. In fact, he's gotten so big. He's the guy that actually interviewed President Trump. He's the one that had that interview, not even
yeah,
Tucker. So there are a few people still in media that are good. You have people that are being red pilled also. I think over time, for instance, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was on one side of the aisle, and he seems to slowly be inching his way towards the other side because it's clear and evident to him that the left is insane, and they want to, basically destroy his ability to speak freely of his mind. They wanted. I mean, I remember when he came out to Spotify, and there were people that were threatening in the company to leave because
yeah,
they didn't like him for who he is. But that again, that's the Democrat establishment. That's what they do. They try to shut you down. They try to shut you up. And we'll circle back to, I mean, that's pretty much what we're trying to do here in the 48th District is we're trying to put a leader in. We're trying to put a fighter in. We're trying to put a success story in. And it would be a great tragedy not to have somebody of Ina's caliber to lead this district. It really, really, really would be, and the people would feel it. So people have to come out November 2nd. Also, they have the ability to come out for early voting, which is October the 23rd.
yeah.
And all that information is online.
Yeah, friends, I want to say that today is an important day in Canada. Today is a day when I wish, and I desire that Justin Trudeau would go finally, because today is election day in Canada. So we wish you victory. If every day something's happening, one day it will break this levy, right? What's the
Yes,
word?
a levy, a
The
dam.
levy should break, and those people who are such a bane of our existence, and they make it a point to become punishment on everybody. You don't have to be a Republican even. You are a Democrat. You live by Washington Square Park, and you're punished by all this nonsense that's going on in there, like fights, illegal boxing matches inside, all the drugs that flows through the area. Like three people on a good day, they have 1, 2, 3 people overdosing, and they were taken to morgue.
Yeah, and that's what happens when the laws that are instituted in the city protect criminals before they protect the constituents of the city. They protect vagrants before they protect the police in our city. We need to stand up. We need to come out and we need to vote against this type of stupidity because I cannot imagine even the Democrats who have a thought in their mind, wait, maybe this is a bad move. Maybe my property is devalued by like 80% because there are crackheads and there's homeless encampments right outside of my brownstone. Maybe they might want to think a little bit differently next time that they vote. Because, again, you brought it upon yourself. You voted these people, and we the people can change things. We the people have the ability to put people in office that can be successful, that can clean up this district. And if you don't vote, I don't want to hear your complaints.
Yeah. Somebody comes to you to be as your guest, and they drag something on the bottom of the shoes, and everybody's saying, what the smell? What the smell? What the person would do, they would go wash his shoes, wash the sole of his shoes, and then come back. That's it,
Right. Clean it up.
Easy, you're a busy man. Thank you so very much. We got to run, and we'll be back with vengeance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yura.
All
Thank you
best.
again for having me on.
Energy, and always stay upbeat and energetic. Take care.
That's what we're doing.
Everybody,
Thank you.
have a great day.